Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hotel Dropouts. Today, unfortunately, we'll be following up on yet another ICE incident. I think we're using ICE as a kind of catch-all terms because I think the person who executed Alex Pretty was actually border patrol or something. Because there's like multiple different subdivisions under the Homeland Security Department. But yeah, um, shocking, wasn't it? How did you feel? Did you actually see the clips?
Not not really. No, I just saw the headlines. I mean, is it really shocking to
It
be fair?
like so this whole thing went down like this. The first clip to come out was I think it was a guy filming from inside of his apartment, and he was like on street level, and it was the incident took place in front of like a donut shop. Then he was filming them, and then he wasn't, you can tell like from the audio, he was not expecting something to be, he was not expecting murder. He was expecting like a violent arrest, and then when the gunshots went off, like he was going crazy. Then the second clip that came out was one of the other bystanders that filmed it. um, it was the woman in the pink top in the first clip, where she was able to like film really up close. And then it was that one that was the most damning. Like, there's just no way around lying about it, and yet it still happened. So it's kind of crazy.
Do you, do you think we can do it like the last time where you showed me the video clip with your
Okay.
with your screen?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
The I hope I can find the right one because most of the time, like, they're all very scattered. Let's
Mm.
see. But yeah, I think in total it was 11 shots. Mm,
11 shots. What? 11 shots.
I think, yeah, in total it was 11 shots. Right. We can start with this one.
That's almost a whole magazine. Well, 11 shots fired or 11 shots that hit the person.
11 shots, 10 to 11 shots that were fired, and I believe it all landed on him. So one guy shot him in the back first, right?
How many
Then
people were shooting?
he was surrounded. Can you see my screen? Because he
I
was
do see your screen, yeah.
yeah, he was surrounded by, at first he was pinned down by 5 agents, and then I think I counted 8 to 9 agents all around, and it was,
That shot him.
We
I
have
don't know how
Ian
many people
Russell.
shot him, but I think it was at least 3 agents, because the person that fired the initial shot may have been confused or something, because somebody yelled out gun, right? Apparently the victim, Alex Pretty, because Minnesota is an open carry state. Sorry, it's Minneapolis. It's open carry. People can have concealed weapons, but he was in the holster. And when he was pinned down, he was trying to protect another woman, and then he was pepper sprayed. He was pistol whipped to the ground. They kept battering him, and then one of the agents took the gun from the holster and then supposedly yelled out "gun." Then the another agent just opened fire, shot him in the back in the first at first, and then followed up with so many consecutive shots. It was insane.
This is all while he was being pinned down.
Pinned down and on the ground, which, by the way, is incredibly dangerous. Like, because there were still other agents on top of Alex, and he still shot. He still fired so many shots. It was up close and dangerous. Let's
Oh,
see.
wow, that's crazy.
Let's see if I can actually find the clip. Da-da-da-da-da. Wait, this is still no.
That's really messed up, though. Like just hearing about the situation and considering what happened with that lady in the car the last time. Why is it?
Yeah, let me.
I also feel like this is all happening in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minnesota,
Is it?
Minneapolis
Is
would
it?
be the first. So I'll give you a weird kind of like, almost, I don't want to say conspiratorial, but it kind of makes sense. So months ago, it was I think it was a law that was passed that basically forced the Trump administration to come out with the Epstein files information. But
Yeah.
in classic Trump administration fashion, they don't want to do that because they're all benefactors of each other. So they kept trying to delay things, and then they shoot a bunch of like distraction rounds, in my opinion, with the with the kidnapping of Maduro, with antics about invading Greenland, and then there was a Nick Shirley video that came out. It's this Mormon guy with who speaks very slowly, and he came out with a video about the potential fraud that's been happening in Minneapolis and or Minnesota, and it's about like these Somali Americans who he alleges are scamming the government to run their daycares, and this lit a fire on social media, mostly because X is controlled by Elon Musk. So Musk basically started pushing the video out, and then everybody got really mad, and then that was the sort of the justification for the administration to start funneling ICE into Minneapolis and / Minnesota. And then
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that one.
yeah, and after that, we have Renee Good being executed, and then now we have Alex Pretty. Let's check out the clip. So this is the first one, I believe. That's the first one that I saw.
Authenticated, and we're able to air it right now. We're going to pause it right before the shot of this man going limp, but we're going to watch it several times here and show you exactly what we're seeing on this video. This video starts with federal agents trying to detain a man who's in like a khaki-colored sort of jacket and pants. The man can be seen when
hanging up and beating him up. Yeah,
it is. With this one, like, it was very difficult to see who took the gun and who fired the shot. But there are like additional clips where you can see the actual. There was a man in the gray coat, and then he took the gun away from Alex, and then the other guy fired the shot. I actually have the original clips, but let me.
I mean, like, honestly, just looking at this video, it doesn't look very professional. Like, it looks like just a bunch of guys ganging up on one dude.
It was
like,
yeah, it could,
like there is no order. There is no look. That nobody's looking around like for tactical situation awareness. Like situational awareness. Everybody's all looking at the person on the ground. I mean, you know what it feels like? It feels like a soccer game. I was gonna say football, where instead of you're sticking to your positions, front, mid, and defender, everybody's just running after the ball in one big mass.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
It's so obvious that these people are not trained, and they get a fat bonus if they sign up. There were accounts of people being around these agents, and they say that a lot of them didn't know where they should be. A lot of them were asking, "So what do we do now?" etc. etc. So you can tell, like,
really?
I imagine in terms of organization, it must be a mess. But I sent the clips to our chat, but we could have a look. So I'll show you the first clip. This is the original.
They're doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people,
Pins him to the ground. Gray coat guy grabs the gun. You see the gray coat guy in the middle?
Yeah.
He grabs the gun, and then the green jacket guy fires.
Of the other guy?
They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking? What the fuck?
So pay attention again. Like I'll mouse over this guy. So you see this guy, the guy with the blue shirt poking out, right? It's the guy behind him that's in the tactical camo shirt that's green. So it's him and that fired the shot. So keep your eyes on him.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
Boom, boom, boom.
Can you back up to 18 seconds?
11?
Yeah, just leave it.
Okay.
Show me the time.
So the green jacket guy.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
No, but don't try not to talk. I want to hear
They
the first
killed
shot.
my. Did they?
Show me keep the mouse moving so I see the time.
Let me show you
And,
from this angle. It's much clearer.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Ouch. That was a sharp, piercing cry, or a whistle, or something.
yeah. This is him. That's Alex Pretty. You see his signaling for traffic to come forward, and he's filming with his right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman that's filming right now is in a pink jacket.
And what are they trying to do?
So what's happening is the ICE agent, the agents are closing in, pushing a woman down to the ground, and Alex Pretty, being a nurse, right? He was trying to go and offer assistance, and then the whole incident unraveled. See, the agent pushed a woman. Alex goes over, and he's dragging on her. He's tugging on her. He's being sprayed. Look at that. Like, he's still trying to protect her.
What's wrong with you? Honestly.
Oh my god. What the hell? You just uploaded on him with oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
A full unload of the clip. This is it's insanity, because like what happened with Renee, it was still within the realm of, you could argue one way or the other. If you're the authority, you could maliciously kind of twist the story to fit your narrative. But with this one, there are multiple angles. There's even one where it's, if I could show you. I don't know if I could find it.
Just no hesitation pulled the gun out and started blasting. There was no warning shot. There was no warning shout. There was nothing. It was just I pulled my gun out and I start firing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you see
crazy.
Do you see this white car?
What about it?
There is a person in that car, and she filmed the incident as well. So I'm sending that video to our Telegram chat so I could show you.
Okay.
But it's crazy. It's nothing too graphic, but it is really uncomfortable to look at. I don't know how they can. So after the incident happened, right? The Department of Homeland Security came out and said in official statement that Alex Pretty was was an aggressive agitator / rioter who approached the agents with a firearm, and then the agents attempted to disarm him, but he reacted violently, and so he was dispatched. And he was shot. Then they said they even claimed that the medical staff was ordered to come onto scene and offer medical aid, which I don't know. I don't know if there's any clips, for the extended aftermath of what happened, but it just didn't sound true. So they openly claimed that they're basically saying that if you approach a federal agent with a firearm, you could be considered, a lethal threat, and so you could be shot. And that's crazy.
My God.
I didn't think we'd come into a world like this. It hasn't even been a month since the Renee Good shooting, right? That was less than a month ago. But I don't know. I feel like there's more people will be shot. So let me show you.
I feel like this is gonna escalate a lot more, because at some point somebody's gonna say, "Hey, man, we got to do something about this. We got to stand up against them." You know what I mean?
I have a solution for Americans if they're curious. But check it out.
Wow, that's a very bold statement. I just want to say.
I do. Watch me cook later. But yeah, this is the clip from within the vehicle. It's very blurry.
No.
Lots of motion blur. You see, that was Alex being pushed. That's still him being pushed. Oh, the woman got pushed. You see his arms, like he raised his arms, like trying to de-escalate. They kept pepper spraying him.
Oh boy, that does not look good.
And then come the shots, I think.
Doing that.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
My God.
Oh!
My goodness,
Yeah, those are really bad, highly untrained people. Oh my God.
how can you? It's crazy. How can they get away with this? Like
Well, the fact that they are unidentified, right?
yeah, and the thing is that this is completely state sanctioned, right? Like, sorry, not state sanctioned, but it's federally sanctioned. These agents have full immunity, so you know if in cases like these, they will not be punished, they will not be prosecuted, they will not even be reviewed. It's insane, and
That's just not right.
to add on top of this, days ago, there were video clips of ICE grabbing. There was a 5-year-old boy that was that was grabbed and then deported. Sorry, not deported, but sent to like a child detention center down in Texas. And supposedly, it's a new tactic that they're trying. In order to draw out the parents, they kidnap the child.
What?
Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah,
That is that worse than Gestapo? Because I feel like even the Gestapo it didn't resort to this. The what's the Czech version of Gestapo? The Uzkeshi. They
I don't know if I want to go in that direction because they are very vocal and very
yeah. In any case,
yeah.
this was it was a very violent tactic. It was crazy, and it goes as far as kidnapping a 2-year-old. It was a 2-year-old girl that was sent to a child detention center in Texas. There were even clips that came out where there were these journalists who drove up to the child detention center, which just saying it sounds wrong. He drove up there and he was very quickly told to leave. But in his recording, you can hear wailing, crying, and screaming outside the facility. It is concentration camp level kind of evil. And I can't believe that, like, when we learned about this happening to the Uyghurs in China,
Nobody gives a shit.
yeah, there's a part of your brain that goes, well, okay, it's China. It's something not exactly without the realm of possibility, but to see that this is happening in the very same country that's championing for democracy, for human rights, etc., like it's unreal. It feels unreal, and all of this happening like within 1 year of Trump's presidency is insane. How?
I mean, managed democracy, I think was what they said, right?
Yeah, it's democracy for
That's what they specify.
it's honestly it's democracy for the billionaires. Which, by the way, interesting fact. I just found out that somebody said that when we think of billionaires and millionaires, we think they're kind of like they're closer. The gap between me and a millionaire should be bigger than the gap between a millionaire and a billionaire, right? But apparently, there's an analogy that they use to explain is that if you go back a million seconds, that's like 1 week and a half ago. But if you go back like a billion seconds, it's 1994.
Yikes.
It is insane. Like the gap between a billionaire and a millionaire is it's so wait, what exactly is different? It's a billion is
It's
thousand
one
million.
decimal place.
But yeah, a billion
It's
is
the shifting of one decimal. Wait, no. It's the shifting of the decimal point 3 times to the right.
so 1,000 million basically.
No, it's 1,000.
So yeah, so
Yeah, it's
1,000
million.
million
Yeah,
is a
it's
billion.
1,000 million. Yeah. You're right.
My goodness.
It's just a strange way to say it.
Hmm
1,000 million.
I think. Okay, so hear me out. This is a crazy idea, but instead of, because there are protests actively happening in Minneapolis where people are going onto the streets. They even have like a system for, because they use Signal, the messaging app, to communicate. They have like a whole system of called Salute, which is a method in which they would report any ICE incidents. And they like even with all the protests and shit like that, we see the Democrats coming out like condemning, writing a strongly worded letter, but you know that it's ineffectual grandstanding. They can't really do anything substantial. They don't have the power, nor do they. I wouldn't question their motivation, but it's just it's everything they're doing now is ineffective, right? Like when this incident first came out last night for me, it was early morning for them. And I think the mayor Jacob Frey came out and then did the whole same condemning thing. And apparently, in many of the incidents after Renee Good, where he has shown up in during other speeches and whatnot, like people were very mad with the Democrats, with the Democrats that's running the state, like they're not really doing anything. Apparently the National Guard has been activated, but I think, do you expect National Guard versus federal agents? Is that what's happening next?
It's. I mean, can they? What are they authorized to do against each other, though? Right?
Exactly. That's insane. Like how they can't exactly can are they liable if a National Guard shot an ICE agent claiming it was self-defense?
Or an ICE agent shot the National Guard.
Yeah. But if the National Guard was impeding on an arrest, like during an arrest, then I think ICE agents have the authority to kill them. They have immunity.
What?
Yeah, it's anybody.
That is so messed up.
Even if a policeman were there to like intervene, I think they could still do it. Which by the way, I think the victim Alex Pretty was or may have been a federal agent as well. So this is federal on federal violence. The victim, what we know about him is that he got his license to be a nurse during COVID. So he started practicing during COVID, which is insane. Like it was the time when medical system was completely overloaded, and he was working at the ICU for in intense care for veterans. Like of all the people to kill, this is the worst person you could kill. This is a guy who took care of people
Stepped
and
up when it was needed.
yeah, he took care of veterans and is overall just very well liked. Oh, I don't know. It's kind of crazy because last time with Renee Good, you could still for so under Trump, under Trump's MAGA sphere, the fans that really like him, there's so many different factions or sub factions, you could say. There in I would say in Europe, a lot of MAGA fans in Europe are mostly people that just don't like the gay stuff. Like they're very much into Trump doing anything with regards to ending wokeness in the military, in whatever, right? They're the ones who just don't want things to be so gay. And then you have the Trump supporters who are in line with Trump's who've potentially voted for him because they believed in the right to maintain a firearm, right? It's the Second Amendment, right? It's the right to carry. And now with with this incident, in the past, like with Renee Good, it still doesn't affect the anti-woke, the anti-gay people too much, because there were some gray zone. You could argue that she was driving into or not. Like, it's difficult to say. Even though, like, with a lot of clips that came out later, it seems like she was trying to get away. But in any case, like, a lot of these European MAGA fans are kind of okay with it because she's a lesbian, so sympathy is limited. But with this guy, there's no excuse. There's nothing there for there's nothing for them to cling on to. So right now, like this is inciting a bunch of the existing MAGA fans who believe in the Second Amendment, to start to question Trump, to start to wane in their loyalty to the administration.
Damn. I mean, talking about backlash within the loyalty to the administration, I heard that due to his inactions regarding the unrest going on right now in Iran, that is also causing some disagreements. Did you know? I was kind of living under a rock, I feel like, over the last couple of weeks due to my own challenges that I'm facing. Um, but apparently, yeah, there's a lot of violence going on in Iran, to the point where the what you call it, the carrier strike group 3 has been redeployed into the region.
Holy.
Yeah, you don't just redeploy a carrier strike group for nothing.
Didn't France send something over there?
I don't know. I'm not very well informed on the whole situation, but I do know that airlines are canceling their Middle Eastern flights, like Lufthansa, Air France, KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines, and Swiss Airlines. Were among the airlines that are canceling flights to multiple Middle Eastern destinations. And normally you don't do this unless like something big is gonna go down, you know?
Yeah. Maybe just as a safety measure. But even then, like, to cancel these flights, that's a lot of lost revenue. It's something that whenever this happens, you just know that there's going to be a government bailout. But in any case, I think Iran it's kind of it's kind of a lost
Careful
cause.
what you say now.
No. I'm just saying that for people who isn't from Iran, who isn't there, what can you do, right? Because they've locked down the internet. The death toll is up to 30K, I believe. They do some really nasty stuff, right? Like they don't even need you to be a protester to shoot you. They can easily accuse you of being part of Mossad, and then they just come and execute you. The biggest story that came out, I think, was that the government forces went into a hospital and executed the protesters that they didn't finish off. Now that is messed up.
Yeah.
I guess there's just no honor among war. It's too easy to kill people with guns, man. We need to go back to swords.
I mean, isn't that what they're doing in the India-China border? Aren't they still beating each other up with sticks and stuff? Like even these days, right now?
No,
couple of weeks ago.
Like so that's the crazy thing. This is a weird tangent I'm gonna go on, but the Indo-China border dispute, where it has been happening like since 2012, I think. Like, it's been escalating since 2012. And
yeah, I mean, just like a couple of days ago, I heard there was another big scuffle that took place where they beat each other up with sticks and stuff.
That's insane.
That's the
Why
only
would
reason
they
why
do
I'm bringing it up.
that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they would beat each other up with sticks. I know that
Because you're not allowed to use guns, because if you use guns, then it will start a conflict. But if it's with sticks, they can still say like, "Oh, it's just local scuffle."
But to my knowledge, it already did. They had engaged they had engaged in a lot of guerrilla warfare. There were live munitions being used, but none of these were reported. Yeah, none of these were reported. I had to crawl pretty deep into the into the Chinese.
Oh, you're making statements, Jamie. We better be careful.
It's all right. There are only 6 people that listens to the podcast. It,
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, allegedly, I should preface this with
Yes, yes. Use
allegedly.
that term. Allegedly,
Mhm.
allegedly.
But it kind of does make sense that, India from time to time would come out publicly to denounce the any kind of border disputes. But there are always these weird breaks in between them, and it just makes you wonder what happened, because these things don't just resolve on their own. And we know that from some of the posts and analysis that I've seen on the Chinese intranet, I like to call it, have shown the deployment of drones, deployment of different military technologies. So we don't really know what's happening there, but it might be really cool that they start using robots to fight each other instead of, human beings.
Human beings. Yeah, yeah. I for one, rather that they use robots to break each other's robots than people to break each other's
Yeah.
people.
Did you do you know the Chinese celebrity Li Home Wang?
I'm not very in tune with the Chinese media these days, to be honest.
Well, he's like he's a pretty famous star that belonged to our era. The millennials would remember him, but he came out with a concert where he had these robots dancing for him. So it went viral because there were these clips of,
Mhm.
of these robots doing backflips and dancing during the during the concert. And I just wish there would be like a robotic dance off, between India and China. Like, use that to resolve any conflicts. Just see whose robots can tear down the dance floor. Right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Hmm. I I don't know how I feel about that. And until I have time to properly make an informed decision, I will not make any statements.
If they do that, and there's a live stream, I'll definitely tune in just to see. Okay, back to the unfortunate shooting in Minneapolis. I have
Yeah.
I have a solution. Okay, here's what the
Yeah.
Americans should
Okay.
do.
This is gonna be interesting. What's up?
So
What's it gonna be?
because
It's all really easy. It's actually very easy.
it is it's just difficult to execute. But I'm not trying to like
Uh,
shit post or troll. It, in a lot of the movements in the past, like BLM, and then there was the who was it? The person that was killed by the police before. I forgot who it was. But there were multiple incidents that incited like protest and stuff like that, and it's never amounted to anything. It's never really amounted to any change. The same thing with the killing of Alex Pretty. This time we see a big protest, but what's really going to happen? Like, what's really going to happen? Are they going to be happy if they drive ICE out of Minneapolis, and then this whole charade kind of just repeats itself in Minnesota, or in other states, right? Like, it's not. Your protest used to be effective because the assumption of democracy was that everybody's vote count, and it was very important for you to capture the mass caucus, right? We see that happening currently in Japan, where things like, cutting consumer tax by a lot is incredibly favorable, but this doesn't really work in late stage kind of like democracy in America. It just feels like with gerrymandering, and then with the million billionaire class sort of all pitching in on the political system in America, just the average person's vote kind of doesn't count anymore. The So when you do protests like this, right? So when we've come to an era where you have an incredibly like unpopular president, who doesn't have everybody's support when he's still in power. So my theory is that protests no longer hurt them. What would really hurt them is the stock market, because we saw a bunch of there are moments in history where we see Trump back off of something if he sees the stock market dipping. Last time it was Greenland, right? With all the Greenland annexation talk happening, we're seeing just the market took a dive. Silver went up, gold went up, the US dollar went down, and now that sparked a panic in him. Before that, do you remember it was the tariffs when he first assumed power? It was the global tariffs, right?
Yeah. But
And then
speaking of the silver market, my dad has been very, very interested in it. Like he's been going on spamming a lot about the silver market. And if you looked at it, right, it raised like 500% over the last 3 years.
yeah, it
Do you feel
quintupled.
like that's a bubble?
No, like it's a bubble is effectively what happens with with the AI industry. A bubble is when you have a self-circulating kind of, how would I describe it? It's when you have like this circle investing, circle jerking,
Hmm.
but circle investing. I keep in, I do a trade. I buy something from you. You invest in something in me. Big companies keep doing this in order to shoot up the the stock, their
Yeah.
stock prices, and this becomes
So you think
a vicious cycle, right? But this can't. So this cannot happen to silver or any like raw precious metals. Is you There's nothing, there aren't that many offshoot industries within the mining, within silver mining that can enable this kind of circle investment. In
wait,
general,
so you're saying that the silver prices are gonna continue to go up?
oh,
Because
absolutely,
apparently the consumption is way higher than the production,
yeah.
which is the cause of the rise of price.
The top silver mining company is forward booked. I forgot the terminology, but they've already signed to deals. They've signed deals of selling silver 2 years in advance, right? Like they're already backed up to 2 years in the future, meaning everybody's buying
Hmm.
them, and they can't make enough silver to keep up with demand. We've seen gold quadrupled, not as much silver, but whenever there is speculation, precious metals are always going to go up, and it
Hmm.
will keep going up. It's just it's good for the people who invested in them, of course, but but it's not sustainable. And if it does crash, it's going to be quite brutal, right? If God forbid there is peace, if God forbid there is stability in the world, then these precious metals will crash. Not crash, but they'll just return
Hmm.
to. But yeah, if
This
you
is a
have
reminder that we are not experts. We are not qualified experts on any of these topics that we talk about. These are just our thoughts about the situation. We are
yeah.
not making any recommendations or proved analysis on stuff,
Every
right, Jamie?
stock YouTuber, like every stock investing YouTuber, says the same thing, where the
Uh,
entirety of the video is talking about which markets are emergent, which are the industries you should really invest in, and then they're the usually at the beginning of the video they're like, oh, these are just personal recommendations, not professional, blah blah blah. Anyway,
we are not even personally recommending. Well, I'm not, and you are not, right, Jamie?
no,
You're
no,
just
no.
talking about it, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And
Yeah.
plus, there are signs that, everything starts with OpenAI and everything will crash with OpenAI. The, we've seen some cracks starting to show in OpenAI announcing that there is a potential strategy where they will have advertisements for, the free tier users, because most users are free. Most people don't subscribe to this, for the paid features. They've even gone as far as to say, "Oh, you're limited to GPT-4, and they're gating GPT-5 behind a paywall." Or is it 3 to 4? I forgot. But even then, it was catastrophic because some people preferred the older model over the newer ones, because the newer ones were too clean, too corporate, too safe, etc.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so going on, continuing with Chat GPT, here is the actual solution to the whole ICE thing. People in America should just unsubscribe. Anyone who has subscribed to OpenAI, unsubscribe. Anyone who is using OpenAI,
Mhm.
even the free ones, stop using it. Go ahead and use DeepSeek. Go ahead and use Gemini. Just anything but OpenAI.
Is is that promoting Chinese media? Because DeepSeek is Chinese, isn't it?
Well, DeepSeek is supposedly open source, so you could run it locally anywhere. You don't have to use the one that's being run in a Chinese IP, right? It could be anybody else's. In any case, like it doesn't matter. You could use any local service. You could use. There's just so many competitors. It's insane. There's so many alternatives. I couldn't name them because I'm not using that much of it. But just stop using OpenAI, and you start, and then and Scam Altman, sorry, is going to come out and starts to cry. And then the elite will see this. This will be a fucking emergency, right? Because as I said, the bubble started with OpenAI. It will crash with OpenAI. So if anything were to happen to their margins, they're seeing some sharp crumbling of their revenues, of their engagement. Even just the crash of engagement is gonna send panic to OpenAI, and that in turn is going to panic the Trump administration, who were largely sponsored by the AI industry, right?
Hmm.
And this
Well,
is
I
going
don't
to,
know. I'm not very well informed
well,
about
in
this.
any case, this is going to have a massive ripple effect, right? Like if you start a movement where you just denounce AI, reject the use of all these chatbot tools, which I guess is a kind of a difficult ask for some people because it's already very niche. So if you use it, then you probably has a good reason to use it. Not everybody just has OpenAI, has ChatGPT turned on just for chatting. Wait, maybe there are. I'm not sure. But
Hmm.
stop using stop feeding the AI bubble. Crash the AI, like just threatening to crash the AI bubble is gonna enact some substantial change in the government. Just stop using it, right? I
So
feel
you're
like,
saying Gemini and DeepSeek. Well, that was your proposed alternative.
yeah, no, those are just naming some other AI models right off the bat because Gemini is free, right?
But isn't
Deep,
Gemini Google?
yeah, it's Google. DeepSeek is also free. And but yeah, I see where you're going because it's if you're turning to other AI alternatives that are also based in the States, and it doesn't really make that big of a difference, right?
Yeah.
Well, there are some nuances to this because OpenAI has the advantage of being the early adopter. They're the first ones, right? They are the first name you think of when we talk about these AI chatbots. They're already like ongoing contracts between them and a variety, a huge amount of other services that feed into this AI bubble. We could talk about memory, which is the memory industry. There's this GPU, NVIDIA industry. A lot of this, a lot of these ongoing trade deals between them will crash if OpenAI isn't able to fulfill the deal. Like they're not able to pay out, then we're gonna have a problem, right? So just stop using it. I guess if you want, you could have alternatives, but if you are actively, if you are based in the States and you are actively protesting against this, the best way to enact change is to threaten the AI market that is heavily coveted by the current administration, and that potentially is the
You
only
know,
way.
yeah, what you just said remind me of something. It's also regarding to do with the gaming industry, where we said don't vote with your mouth, vote with your wallets.
Exactly. Yeah. Consumerism is the in a very twisted way, consumerism is the only kind of real democracy there because yes, these corporate giants are very powerful, but they're only as powerful as the products that they provide. The
And
fundamental,
service.
exactly, like the fundamental the fundamental principles of economy still is at work here. If when COVID happened, we saw a dramatic dip in consumption, and that was enough for the American government to come out with a myriad of subsidies for bailouts, bailing out the airline industry, bailing out a lot of these tech giants, because people couldn't consume, people couldn't work, people couldn't consume. Right? It becomes unsustainable if the average person does not consume, and I think consumption is possibly, which like, it's a very in typical American fashion, like that's how you could get your power back, is to just not consume.
The power of the wallet, huh? Or is it? What did you say? The power of the consumer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big ask. Like it's not like, it's not as unrealistic as things like, oh, why don't people in Minneapolis just stand their ground and open fire? Right? It's I'm not trolling with one of those stupidly black and white simple logic, but instead I feel like just the halt of consumption is going to amount to some kind of change. The only way to scare the rich.
Money talks, right? Money talks.
It absolutely does. Oh, but I really hope they do it. Otherwise, this is just gonna get worse, right? Like it's escalating. They have full immunity. What's stopping them from just gunning down anybody they don't like?
Yeah, it's true.
Because if anybody who so what's happening with Minneapolis, at the site of the shooting, was that no protests were actually happening. It was organizing. So people were kind of just you hear the whistles, right? That was just a sign of, oh, making attention, so other people that are observing ICE would get close. And it started off being a small offshoot of the population who is who can spare the time to do this observation. To the average Minneapolis citizen would kind of have to do this because of Renee Good, and they know that this is entirely pertinent to their existence. So a lot of people are whistling, but none of them are technically doing a protest, right? There's no unlawful gathering. Legally speaking, they are not protesting. And yet the Department of Homeland Security could call these protesters as agitators, as domestic terrorists, right? I think Stephen Miller, I don't even know what title he has now, is a dickhead. He came out and said the way he phrased the incident was that a would-be assassin. So they can label you as a domestic terrorist / a would-be assassin in any open carry state. They're like the foundation of I suppose the foundation, like the sort of the social norm, the social rules that used to be there are gone, right? From if the right to carry has been practically eliminated because officially they've come out and said we can execute you if you carry. To the whole idea of law enforcement being properly trained and funded and not escalating a situation, that has been completely ignored because we have these agents who are not trained, who are just everyday guys who need money. And then, like, how does it feel? Because for me, it's very momentous because we've grown up learning about World War II. We've learned about the Nazis. We've learned about how people could turn evil. Like when we were younger, a lot of this the World War II era, the Japanese and the Nazis were just kind of like labeled as
the
evil,
bad guys,
the
right?
baddies. But luckily, I was taught by this borderline conspiracy theorist, and he showed us how with the right incentive, anybody could be evil. And it's only very much afterwards when you're committing it. At the time, you're not evil. You're not seen as evil. It's only.
Yeah.
So how does it feel that it's kind of like it's playing out live to us? We're seeing
Yeah, I mean,
like, would
I
you?
just, it's just not right, you know. It's like what we spoke about last time. This is just a consequence of people on higher up making decisions, right? You said it's like a distraction tactic for a bigger issue. Maybe it is,
Yeah.
maybe it's not. I don't know, and I cannot say. But at the end of the day, somebody up there is making these decisions, and the people below are the ones suffering for it.
Yeah.
That's not right, man.
Do you think if you were American and your financial situation dire, things in your life are not going well, and ICE comes along and says to you, if you sign up, if you qualify to be a recruit, you are paid $50,000 right off the bat, which I just looked it up. It exactly, I was gonna guess like, oh, maybe 50,000. It actually is 50,000. That's
All right,
a lot
so
of
I'm
money.
gonna be real, right? Like if I need that cash and I got no other choice, signing up.
Mm.
I have to
Right?
be honest, and you can hate me for that. You can hate me for that. But what I do know is the problem is it seems a lot to me like abuse of authority, right?
Yeah.
You know that university experiment where half the students were prisoners and half the students were jail people,
Yeah,
like
the
wardens.
Stanford study. Was it Stanford?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Stanford
I
study.
don't know, but it's that one where everybody who were put in positions of power started abusing it. I don't think it's right to take a job that is going to help you out financially. But when you, and I'm not saying I won't ever be a victim to it, because when I graduated officer school, it does get to your head. Like you start thinking like, hey, I put in the effort, I put in the time, I deserve to be treated with respect, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, because
It warps you. It does. But the thing is, like, my sister called me out on it. She was saying, hey, you're being a real fucking asshole. And I thankfully had the self reflection and the mental capacity to be able to say, like, to stop myself and go, oh, damn, I really am being an asshole. And I got to turn that shit down, right?
yeah.
It's good to have pride, it's good to be self confident. But it's also important to have moderation in everything,
Mm-hmm.
to remember that you are not perfect, you don't know everything, and to stay humble.
I think, I really think that for because when you look at the images of these ICE agents, a lot of them are immigrants themselves. A lot of them are,
And I
are
feel, and the
colored.
way they hold themselves, it just feels like they're on a fucking power trip, man.
They absolutely are, and I wonder if America has done this to themselves. With a past decade, you have the gender warfare happening, where if we look at Gen Z men are overwhelmingly conservative versus the Gen Z women overwhelmingly liberal. Whereas that didn't happen in our generation. For our generation, I think we came up on the Obama high, and the average person our age back then was a liberal. And I say liberal with quotation marks because it kind of meant a different thing. Liberal now versus liberal
I
then was different because
one sec, one sec. I don't think that it's about being conservative or being liberal. I think it's that it's us, or it's just if you're not with us, you're against us. It's there is a lot of hate. There is not a lot of acceptance. There is not a lot of understanding. There is no compassion. It's either you're with us or you're against us. And if you're not with us, you're the problem, right?
pretty
There's a lot
much,
of
yeah.
there's a lot of I'm a girl and all boys are the problem, or I'm a boy and all girls are the problem. And honestly, this got nothing to do with that, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're all, at the end of the day, we're all just fucking human beings being born a girl and a guy. Yeah, of course, there's the biological differences, right?
Mm.
But at the end of the day, we all want the same damn things. We all want comfort, we all want security, and we all want not to be alone, right?
Yeah. My theory is that most younger people nowadays, you know, they they all want the same thing in the sense that they're all dealing with the rising cost of the housing crisis, the inflation, the lack of jobs, in just overall the macroeconomics for them are terrible, and when
Yeah,
they're in pain, when they're hurting, they seek to be part of a group, some to the liberals,
of
some
course.
to the conservatives, and from
And some
there.
bad real actors are radicalizing them to have their to force their own agenda.
Exactly.
They are a tool.
And it's so crazy how
But
effective, and it almost makes me feel kind of hopeless in in f- in realizing that these people, the people, younger people, are so easily manipulated, so easily captured, and they have all this energy, and they just want to be part of something. They want to belong. There's also the lonely. This is against the backdrop of bad economy, the loneliness crisis, the gender warfare, the whole
but
anti woke thing that's been
but
happening.
remember what Ursina said about the loneliness crisis shit. I mean, it's the example us, the three of us, we choose to stay in contact, right? But
Yeah,
other people sometimes they don't make that fucking effort to reach out to their friends. They don't put in that energy and just think like, hey, yeah, like it's okay. We if we see each other, it's gonna be like how it was 10 years ago. And yeah, that's great and all that, but life changes.
it
People
does.
move
It
on
does.
with their life. Priority changes. And if you don't understand and expect and respect that, then maybe you're the problem, right?
No, I would disagree there because that is a very surface level critique on. It is true. It absolutely is true that
Of
people.
course,
There are
there's
people.
nuance. I'm not saying it's that simple, but like you also have to understand that you need to like a relationship, regardless of what kind, romantic,
Mm,
friendship, familial, it's like a plant. If you don't water it, it's gonna dry up and die. That's all I'm
exactly,
saying. If you want
and
to stay relevant to somebody, you gotta make sure you connect. I
yeah.
mean, it also you also have to see if they are making that effort or not, right? Then it's a more of a mental health thing of
Mhm,
respecting yourself and picking people who pick you too, right?
exactly.
Regardless of whatever form of relationship it is.
So here is the problem. Herein lies the problem, right? The fundamental backdrop of society back during, let's say, prior to the 80s, prior to the 90s, there were a lot of third spaces. The meaning, the first space is your home, second space is school or work, and then there's third spaces. So people very frequently go to pubs, go to shopping malls, they go to these, third spaces where they could socialize. Families used to be able to sustain on one income, etc., etc. Food prices, house cost, blah blah blah. People in general had more disposable money and had more time. It was, of course, you do need to manage your relationships. You need to put in the work with your friends, but it was legitimately easier if you know, if you work a job where you're perfectly capable of paying your rent and have a savings, when you have these comforts, when you have the financial bottom line, then you could go out, meet your friends. Whereas if you're struggling, like a lot of the young people nowadays, you fall into the trap of, oh, the alpha grind set, just keep working multiple jobs. Or if you
Mm.
fall into this doomerism where you just tell yourself, I do kind of still want to have friends, but I don't want to consume. And what happens if you don't consume? You kind of don't get to have friends. Take me for an example. If I want to go meet my old buddies from the army, we'd go out, have a meal somewhere, go eat out, watch a movie, go to an event, maybe something to do with animes or games and stuff like that. and that used to be accessible. It used to be cheap enough. It didn't cost, a significant percentage of your monthly wage. Whereas now it has significantly become more expensive, um, and it's just not worth the trouble, right? Like it's just
I
not
mean,
worth
I would
the
argue that
cost.
the third space is now digitalized. That's why people
Yeah.
are. I mean, look at us, for example.
Hmm.
Yes, we are technically paying for the Wi-Fi and our digital devices that enable this third space.
Yeah.
But you can all I'm gonna argue that you're gonna have it regardless for yourself, for your
Yeah.
own consumption.
Do you think, here's an interesting question. Like I feel like if so say we meet every week, we get together, we talk about something, it does make
Or
me
we try to
feel,
anyway.
huh?
Or we try to
Yeah,
anyway.
we try to. It does make me feel less lonely afterwards. It feels good, right? It feels good to reconnect with your friends. But
Hmm.
I have to admit, if we had done this, like if this was done in person, I would feel a lot less lonelier, right? If it was done in person, it would just be very different. And there's
Of
that
course.
right, there's that biology within us that crave the actual contact. And with the third
Yeah.
space
And
being largely like,
like
yeah, go
it's
ahead.
not the same. Like if I want to hug you or if I want to hug Dan,
Hmm.
I was able to do it when I'm with you,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Right. So,
And those and that feels good. I mean, uh, for the listeners, I am heterosexual, but I love my friends, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I find it weird that some people see that as, oh, that's gay. Well, maybe you're just not comfortable in your sexuality, and you need to reevaluate that. But like that's the thing as well. We have by meeting together can have that physical contact as well, which does release oxytocin, which makes it feel a lot better. We are not able to do that over the digital space. Yes, we do make time for each other, which is appreciated. We are playing with each other. We are there's that when we play games together, right?
okay, yeah, play games.
We
Emphasis
solve
on game.
challenges.
Okay.
We solve. Well, okay, you're having some kind of dirty thought there, I think.
Yeah, you
But I
said
was
we
thinking
played
more like,
together. We played
yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
like games. No, not well, games, computer games.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
the thing, right? We're solving challenges together, and
Mm.
that in itself is also a sort of fulfillment. A sort of
Mhm.
like solving challenges together does also build a relationship.
Yeah. See, so you can see how, with the third space being increasingly, as you said, digitized, that younger people now would have trouble with loneliness, would have more loneliness, especially during, imagine like this happening. I cannot fathom what it was like for all the high school students or university students or any kids going to school during the COVID years when like I think, was it 3 years, right? Like there were 3 years of actual lockdowns like happening in the
Mm.
States, where these 3 years that were supposed to be your a significant chunk of your youth, the golden era, right? It's when you're supposed to have the most fun and have the most interaction, have the most amount of friends. It was just stripped
Are
away
you
from that.
supposed to though?
Supposed to, or I suppose, or maybe just easier. It was a lot easier to have more friends when you were younger. But you can see how like when that's been stripped away from you, going back, they almost have to like re-socialize in a sense, re-enter the sort of like we went to hotel schools, and I think you and I have all gone through that sort of induction where we learn to be a lot more sociable, a lot more uh cordial, I suppose. Like, do you know that, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like the sort of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
facade we put on to make friends. um
Yeah, I mean that was also like forcing ourselves to break out of our social shells, and
exactly, right, that was how we get to meet people from vastly different backgrounds, and it was so important to our development. And
Mm.
if that had been stripped away from me as a kid, I'm gonna collapse into a shell, and I will just be a a persistently online gooner, right? Which, by the way, in of itself is also another sign of this loneliness, where there are young people that like actual goon. I didn't know about this, but actual gooning is a very long. It's an endurance activity. I didn't know this, but apparently proper gooning would last like the entire day. You just constantly edge yourself.
That's amateur hour, Jamie.
Huh?
Proper gooning, that's amateur hour. Proper gooning would last maybe even days or weeks.
What? How?
Yeah.
How? So you don't
Just
bust
edge
the
yourself
entire time?
nonstop. That you allegedly, I don't know, I never tried this. You edge yourself nonstop to the point where you hit a trance-like state.
What?
Allegedly, yeah.
Okay, this piqued
I don't
my
know if this is
interest.
some kind of extreme form of gooning, but yeah, that's what they do.
What the hell? A trance-like state. So does that amount to like a better orgasm at the end, or what?
I have no idea, Jamie. I never tried, and I don't think I ever will.
That is too intense. Like I cannot dedicate that much time to just gooning. That's insane. I've other shit to do.
If you ask me, it's actually an issue. So
Huh?
if you ask me, that's the problem. You need to I mean, don't you have time to eat? What about sleep and stuff? Like
Right? Yeah. Uh,
I don't know, man. I would not be able to do that.
we're starting to see like these very fringe subcultures appearing, and the ones that are gaining momentum are usually the ones that are very problematic, right? You have the grapers, who are fans of Nick Fuentes, and the whole which effectively is an incel movement, right? And
I
we
have no
see
idea who that who?
Nick Fuentes is a prominent
Ben.
gay. He hasn't come out as gay, but he's totally gay. He's a conservative young man who used to be Team Trump and is now not Team Trump. But he was banned on multiple social medias. He think of him as a younger Alex Jones, I guess. But instead of conspiracies, it's about hot takes. And he's politically critical. And then what's funny was that he was caught having like a date with an Australian gay furry Nazi, or a femboy Nazi, I think. It was it was very it was very weird. And then at one point, like when he was streaming, as usual, like he would well, the man has talent for speaking. He's very eloquent, which is again another reason for I think like he's gay. But he's
I mean, con man, right? Con man. That's what con mans are. Like they're
Exactly.
confidence men.
Yeah, and then when he turned off his stream, he forgot to like completely turn it off, and his page was up, and people saw it was just gay porn, right? Like that. And then
I mean, nothing wrong with that. Different
Yeah.
strokes for different folks.
Yep. Supposedly he says that he does sleeping with women is gay. Like that's something he said.
I mean, if you think about it, right? If you kiss a girl, that girl kissed so many different guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're indirectly kissing all those guys too, right?
Yeah. By that,
Yeah.
but by
I
that,
see that logic.
by that logic, then the least gay person you could kiss is another straight guy who's never kissed anyone. Because how
Or
many?
that who's only kissed women.
But then no, because if that person has kissed a woman who has been kissed by other men, then by 2 layers of proxy, you're gay. This is too much.
Wait. So wouldn't the least gayest person be like?
Another incel who has never kissed anyone.
Or what about a femcel?
Oh yes. A femcel would be the best.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, good luck with that. Femcels are all now really busy with Heated Rivalry, the latest
What?
hit Canadian TV show about hockey.
Oh, isn't that based on that book talk about the ice rink with the cheerleader as well? Or
Is it?
something? I don't know.
I think
I
so.
have no idea, but yeah, whatever.
It's it's a very successful like a gay romance series. The if you ask
Didn't you
any,
mention it once already?
huh?
Have you never mentioned it
No,
once
I
already
never, because
before?
I've heard of it. I never talked about it. I've only watched it yesterday, and I binged
Oh,
the entire 6 episodes. It's very short. It's like a limited series, but I'm really happy for it because it for once we finally have a successful TV show that's not made by the media giants, right? It's made by I suppose it's still a big company, but they're made by like a French Canadian production team.
and who is this we?
Who's we? What?
Yeah. You said we finally have. Then who is this we?
Oh, us, the gays. Oh, sorry. No,
Ah,
no, I was
right.
talking about like TV shows. A lot of the ones that you only ever hear about are from the companies that could afford mass advertisement, right? Like
Ah, yes. Yes.
every now and then, finally, like it's like having an indie hit, and I'm really happy about it. Which, by the way,
Does the
like
gays also include the lesbians?
there are no lesbian scenes. There are actually a lot of like straight
No, no, no.
sex
But
scenes.
when you use the term the gays, do you mean only the specific male homosexual population, or is that also including the female population?
To be honest, I would be referring to like all queer people, anyone who's queer,
Hmm.
right? Like because
Hmm.
it's very popular among them. It's to be fair, the writing is good. Um
Hmm.
the the cinematography was expertly done, but I kind of
Hmm.
expect that out of, French Canada. They've got their own flair. Eh, in any case, back to the there's a big
Yeah,
tangent
I was
away
just
from
gonna say,
the
like, we are
shooting.
tangenting very hard right now, and it has been over an hour.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we should be wrapping this up. So, I
Hmm.
guess in conclusion, stop using OpenAI. Go ahead and
Mhm.
watch Heated Rivalry.
And vote with your
Wallet.
wallets.
Yes,
You have a lot more power than you think you do,
that is so fucking true. By the way, I
but
was
that means that you have to sacrifice comfort.
you
And are you
do
willing to do that?
you do, and if you want, I have I think I forgot I forget exactly what they're called, but they're no okay, they're called the Minimalist. They have like a podcast on Spotify, and it's these two very Jewy sounding rich guys who choose to give up on material comfort, and they talk about their journey to become a minimalist. So they don't have a TV, they don't have a lot of these furnitures they don't need. They basically just have a bookshelf and a mattress or something. And they walk you through. It's a very weird podcast to relate because it's more for rich people. And then they said it
There is
on.
a saying that only the rich can afford to be poor. How well do you agree with this statement?
I guess that well, that's exactly the what this podcast is. The minimalists are proving, right? Like legitimately, they're giving you advice on how even though you have money, how you can work with less. And they point out that to the millennial listeners, they're just like, oh, if you're a because they're one generation above and then they just said, oh, if you're a millennial, you don't have to worry. You're already a minimalist. You're good. Like you don't have
Oh,
you just
what?
we just can't afford anything. Uh,
Ouch.
it is
Kind of tone deaf too,
yeah,
fuckers.
it is liberating. So give it a shot, and hopefully we don't have to do another episode about shooting. My God,
No, we don't have to.
I don't know. I just mean like I hope there's not going to be another one that happens. Um, we're not.
Honestly, if you ask me, I think it will happen. I think I just don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, at that point,
Yeah.
it's my goodness. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Do check us out on Spotify as well. And that's it for today. So we'll be seeing you next
Don't
time.
forget we have a Patreon.
Yes, we have a Patreon. Maybe what can we offer? What can we offer?
Like I said, behind the video, behind the scenes recordings and stuff, like more like behind the, like, you know, before the podcast starts, the conversations we have before and after, stuff like that, maybe.
We should lean into the good.
Or we should ask the audience, like, have some engagement. Write down in the comments below what you would like for a Patreon subscription.
Yeah. How about
Let's have some engagement.
How about like a face cam for all of us except Benny has to be shirtless? Maybe that
What?
will.
No.
Maybe that'll. Imagine how sad it would be if that actually drove engagement down.
Oh, that would be a hit to my self-confidence. But you know, that's not a proof of my value. That's just the showing of what's wrong with society these days. Because I know self-affirmation time. I know I'm good. I know I'm amazing. I'm fine perfectly the way I am.
You are a pretty butterfly. All right. Goodbye, guys.
Have a good one. Ciao. Thanks for listening.